Thank you for joining today's Tech Talk, Dynamics 365 Customer Service Implementation Resources, Samples and Tools. Presenting for us today from Microsoft, we have the following fast-track solution architects: Vince, Joseph, Nuno, Josh, Ramanujam, and Sourav. This is the third episode of our Tech Talk series on fast-track implementation resources for Dynamics 365 Customer Service. In the previous episodes, we introduced this resource collection with an overview of some of the samples and tools that are already available, and we presented some tools to work with Channel Integration Framework. If you missed the live events, you can access the recordings from the links on this page. On this episode, we'll present additional samples and tools that are part of the collection, and in the next sessions, we'll discuss testing and analytics for customer service solutions. You will find all details on all upcoming Tech Talk events for this and the other series in the Dynamics 365 community portal. On today's session, we'll continue our overview on the available samples and tools that we started on the previous episodes. If you wish to review the resources we previously presented, please see the recording at the link we shared earlier. Today, we present solutions that will help in the following scenarios: automating agents' tasks in customer service workspace by using Power Automate Desktop, monitor Copilot Studio telemetries in application insights, implement case deflection or automatic routing by leveraging artificial intelligence, summarize knowledge base articles with GPT, and different solutions to solve specific tasks in Copilot Studio, such as how to play a secure audio file, how to implement DTMF aggregation, and how to set up a multilanguage bot. All the resources you will see today, and the ones we previously presented, can be accessed from our homepage at this link, that will also be shared in the Q&A panel. New and updated resources will be added over time, so please remember to check back regularly. Before we deep dive on today's content, let's answer some of the common questions about our implementation resources. We implement our deliverables by following Microsoft best practices and product recommendations. However, they are not considered part of the product. These resources must be considered community content, documentation, and starter samples to implement your own project, not final product for production use. When you decide to use these resources, you will use them as a reference or guidance to build your own solution. All the articles are published in our Learn portal, which is curated by Microsoft. However, some resources will have a corresponding GitHub repo to host code samples and starter solutions. We will also evaluate additional collaboration opportunities in the future. You can forward your proposals through the Ideas portal, which is one of the sources we evaluate for new deliverables. Additionally, if you have Fast Track engaged on your project, you can also share your suggestions with the assigned solution architect. Now, Vince, over to you to start our presentations.
Thanks, Michele. And now we are presenting the sample and tools. Okay, this collection of sample code components, solution, and the documents has been created to help customer service project with various tasks like, for example, customization, configuration, and operation of the platform. The goal of the library is to offer reusable, easy-to-follow resources for customer service developers and users. The main areas are unified routing, omnichannel, artificial intelligence, Copilot Studio, and the last automation. Today, we are presenting the second part of the deliverables. I highlighted with a red point the ones that we are going to present today. Let's move to the first one. Okay. Now, the first deliverable is related to automate task with Power Automate Desktop, and I'm going to play a recording.
Thanks, Vince. Here at Microsoft, we're in the era of automation, and the personas for customer service for Dynamics 365 is a right place for it. Automation is intended to help people be more productive and in turn achieve more. However, we're not here to tell you about another Copilot. Nope. We're going to be using a technology that has been around for some time now, Power Automate Desktop Flows, which I'll refer to them going forward as desktop flows.
Now I move to the next one.
The role of a customer service representative or an agent tends to be a very repetitious job. You pull a case, you work on the case doing research or engaging peers, you work with the customer to help understand and resolve the case, and finally, you close the case. We have observed that agents tend to rely on multiple external systems for them to be able to complete their work, from collaborating with peers or engineering teams to logging the time they worked with their customers. These tasks are often repetitious and are the key areas we should look to focus our attention on for automation. The sample solution we are providing allows agents to interact with the applications installed on their workstation with desktop flows. For those that are not aware, desktop flows have a very powerful and in-depth no-code solution to build automation tasks. Use the desktop flow designer. You can simply drag and drop actions on what you want your desktop flow to do. We have recorded a demo for you to see that combines Dynamics 365 Customer Service Workspace with Power Automate desktop flows.
Okay, now we see a quick demo on the real implementation.
In today's demo, we're going to automate agent tasks utilizing Power Automate desktop. Now, it's common that customer service representatives have to rely on other applications outside of Customer Service Workspace to conduct their day-to-day business. Some of these tasks could be monotonous and or repetitive. With the help of Power Automate Desktop, a user could automate these tasks and call them straight within Customer Service Workspace. You can see here that I am logged in as a customer service representative. I have my customer service agent dashboard, and I also have to make sure that all of my case information is entered inside this Contoso invoicing application. Now, I can easily open up a case and copy all the information into the cases portion of Contoso invoicing, but that is super monotonous and it is repetitive. Instead, what I can do is I can go ahead and open up a case, and due to some customizations, there is a button that will allow me to invoke a Power Automate desktop that will take information, contextual information from this case form and enter it into the Contoso invoicing app. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Add to Contoso invoicing app. This launches a application within the browser, which I will go ahead and click on Open. After doing that, what it's doing is it's starting to run that Power Automate desktop, and it is prompting me to run the flow. Now, this is a security measure, so in case a bad actor was able to get onto my desktop and start running different applications, that I wouldn't just be able to run the flows on its own. You can disable this, but for this demo, I went ahead and kept it enabled. I'll go ahead and click on Continue, and now it's going to go ahead and start running. Once it runs, it's going to open the Contoso invoicing app. It's going to click on the cases. It's going to enter in some additional information from the case. And then it's going to go ahead and click on Save. All of that done within a single button click. Obviously, this is a very simple example, but this could be done with an Excel or other applications. I hope you found this demo to be helpful. You can find related information about this demo and all the sample code associated to this video. Thanks.
Okay, now the demo is completed, and I want to add that all the details are available in the following link in this slide that will be shared after the technical talk. Now we can move to the next deliverable for today, and Ram, over to you.
Thanks. This topic, we will take a look into how can we configure application insights with Microsoft Copilot Studio, and also how we can analyze some of the telemetry data that has been shared with from Microsoft Copilot Studio. In implementation, the challenge of bot being deployed is we want to gain insights on how the users are interacting with our bot, and also to know how the bot is responding. right? Like one way to do this is to configure application insights, and it can provide you the activities data to be shared in App Insights for our gaining the valuable insights of that. And not only that, if you take a look into it in combination of analytics that comes with Microsoft Copilot Studio and application insights, it helps the business to understand and analyze how the bot has been interacted, identify the patterns and the behavior to continuously refine the bot for higher resolution rate. An advantage of integrating with App Insights, once it is integrated, you can leverage the native capability of App Insights, like configuring your alerts for certain thresholds met. You can notify certain people. That is very important because bot is anonymous on its own. So we want to have certain interaction when the failure happens, notify certain team so that they can quickly look into it. Once you have, and this learning resource will help you to, once the App Insights is configured, this learning resource will help you to dive into some of the queries that you can use and execute it and understand the data that has been shared. Now, let's take a look into how we can configure the App Insights with Copilot Studio. Hey, in this session, we are going to take a look into it, how App Insights can be integrated with Copilot Studio. Before we starting it, the prerequisite for this is to create application insights from Azure resource. Just log into your Azure portal and navigate to application insights and create application insights. For my case, I have already created application insights. Once application insights is created, just take this connection state and go to your Microsoft Copilot Studio bot. And this is my bot. I have created a store bot which can answer Microsoft Company Store related questions. Navigate to the settings and you will see an option called Advanced and provide your connections link which you have created with your app instance. Okay. And then turn on or off certain toggle features. And I recommend to turn on these for have more in-depth telemetry and also control who can access this information from your Azure roles and responsibilities. Let me save this and let me go to the bot to publish to take it. Okay. I'm publishing the bot. Once it is published, we can test the bot. And it will take a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds to reflect this telemetry app insights to be attached with this bot once it is published. And we should be good to go. Let it complete publishing. Now the publishing is completed. Let me access this bot using it about upside. This is a store bot. It can answer some of the information about the store location, store hours, and also I am using a generative answer by providing a public website about the Microsoft Company Store. Let's play around with this. I'm asking about the store hours near me, and it provided me an answer from the bot, like a Redmond locations are this, and it is asking whether I answered the question. I go ahead and say yes, based out of Redmond. And experience is fine. Yes, I need assistance on further thing. I'm planning to buy a Xbox gift card. Let me ask about where can I buy Xbox. I don't have a specific topic related to this, but the conversation boosting has looked into this topic and found some information that are available and publicly available in Microsoft website. Let me take a look into what it has provided. It is providing me an option to buy a Xbox digital card and other information related to Xbox. Let me go back to the bot. And I have to track my order that has been previously placed with Microsoft Store. I'm just going to ask where is my order. Okay, I'm getting an error at this stage. It says that it's not able to retrieve an order information and then asking me to try again later. So I'm going to say thank you. The conversation is ended. Now we can look into our App Insights telemetry. So far, what we have done it out is we have configured App Insights and we integrated with our bot. Now we will take a look into our telemetry data, what has been published based on this interaction. To look into our telemetry data, which has been published from Microsoft Copilot Studio, log into our Azure portal, navigate to Application Insights, and navigate to the monitoring session logs. And most of the information related to Copilot Studio are captured in the custom units. Let's take a look into custom units. It will provide, and you can run your query to look into a certain period by changing the date range here. and it will provide the information related to the what actions that has been taken for particular session. And custom dimension provides a lot more information, and we will see in this session how we can split this data to understand this data better. And also it captures the which bot as logged with this telemetry. There are scenarios where you have multiple bots and you are using a single application insights configured across the bot, and you want to filter it out for a particular bot to do an analysis. You can use this cloud role instance to filter it out for the bot. Let's take a look into by filtering into a specific. You can also filtering it out by a specific conversation ID if you are looking into to see what has happened for the particular conversation. The conversation ID can be taken when you are testing it out from the bot by using debug/conversation ID. Or if you have integrated with omnichannel, you can take that information from conversation transcript. And this information currently it is showing it out for the particular conversation, what has happened. And all the informations are stored in the custom dimension. And let's dive into some other sample queries, which has been frequently used or come across scenarios. And this query is all about, in last 30 days, how many sessions have been created in my bot and what are the data looks like. Let's run this query. Let's move this result, bring up the result up. You can see across the various dates, what are my sessions, how many sessions are created, how my bot's peak hours or workloads are happening. And I'm using those in the lower instance. You can see this data has been they're not ideal, but when you try it out this query in production, you can get the real sense of how many sessions or how peak the bot can have. And this one will provide you the query related to how many unique users have logged in with your bot and used your bot. Right? And let me execute this query, because these are common scenarios that come across, and this information can also be taken it out from the bot session analytics, which is natively out of bot report that comes in to collect these details. But if you want to get these details using Twister query, you can using the sample query, you can collect the data, how many users have been uniquely logged in and created the session across the various dates. Okay, and you can set the time range to analyze this data. And one of the key important while analyzing this data to keep in mind is the telemetry. Once you configure, it captures both the test you are doing it out from test canvas and also the actual bot interactions with the user. So to filter it out, only the conversations that are actuals, and to ignore the test conversations that are happened or tested using a test canvas, you can add a filter by saying a design mode is false. What that means is any conversation that has happened within test canvas are excluded for our analysis. And it's a Boolean variable. If it is a true, it means that the conversation has happened from the test canvas. And if it is a false, it is basically a conversation that is an actual website you configured, the bot has been interacted, or in chat channel or SMS channel, different channels you have deployed this bot, the interactions and such and stuff happen. Because this is very important when you're taking it out, the prior queries like unique session count or how many users are uniquely logged in and tried it out or how many sessions are created. The ideal number is to exclude your test conversation to get the actual information, or use out-of-box Copilot analytics report. Now we'll take a look into the deep dive into the custom dimension telemetry data, what information it is captured, and there's some key informations are available in custom dimension. We'll now take a look into. And let's break down the custom dimension data for specific conversation to understand what are the data has been shared or stored in custom data for our analysis. I'm executing this query for the specific conversation, and I see error in my query. Let me correct this out and let's give a try. Yeah. And you can see that some of the key informations are breaking down of custom dimension. You can see what are the actions the bot has done. This is nothing but within your bot, what are the each steps? I would consider this as what are the each steps that bot has taken here. For example, there is a set variable has taken place. So this will provide set variable. There is a condition evaluation has happened, and there is a message sent from the bot. And what are the text messages bot has received and bot has sent can be seen here. And also any error messages. If you want to break it down, all these things, you can. These are stored in custom dimension, and this query will split that information into a separate column for further analysis. Okay. And also it provides for this session what and all the different topics that has been triggered so that you can understand the flow of the bot for this session. Okay. And for example, I would like also to look into it. I have this set variable and I want to understand where this set variable has been used. You can look into your custom dimension. You can expand your custom dimension. And there is something that I would like to bring it up. This will be very helpful for the team to look into it out as when you expand the custom dimension, there is something called action ID. This action ID will help you to identify a specific action within the Copilot Studio. You can go to your Copilot Studio and open it in a code editor, and then you can search for this action, and it will specifically take into which action this line of telemetry is related to. Okay, this is very helpful. When there is an error, you see it out and you want to know where the error has occurred within the topic. You can take this action ID, go to the topic and open the code editor, and you can find that specific action that has caused an error. And these are some of the bot informations that has been happened. And as you can see, I have asked the store hours, and it has bot has responded, and the user has said, I'm happy with it. And then they did some Gen AI questions. It captured the feedback, and then it did some Gen AI searches, and it provided the information. Those kind of analysis can be done here, and it is primarily passing out the information from custom dimension into each of these columns. And also when I navigate to it, I could see there is a flow as called, and there is some error happened. I'm unable to do, which we saw in a query response. And now I want to know what the flow has caused this error. As I said earlier, we can go to this custom dimension. Let me expand this one. We know the topic is external order. And if I go to the custom flow now and expand to the custom dimension, I should see an action item. Let me navigate to my Copilot Studio to find out which action has caused this error. This is my store bot. Let me go to the topics, and I see an external order topic here. And if you have multiple flows here, I would say you can go into code editor and look out for the specific action ID. You can see here, okay, I see a send activity there. We are sending some activity here. We are sorry, unable to retrieve. After that, this flow is causing me an error. Let me close this error. And you can find it out, okay, I'm sending this message, and this is the flow that has caused an error. I can go take a look into the run history and identify what the error is causing it. And if something needs to be fixed, that can be done. And let's break. Now we will take a look into how do we identify errors in the bot from telemetry data. And also if I'm using the conversation boosting and Gen answers, how the bot has responded using conversation boosting. We will take a look into those details from telemetry data. And let's take a look into this query. And this query is to identify what are my errors that are occurring in my bot. Eventually, there are, when you think about a production-like scenario, we would like to set up some monitoring alert in App Insights whenever the error occurs, and the error I see in constant pattern, I would like to alert to my team to take a look into it and so to see what is happening. This query will provide information about in the chart form to see what are my top errors. Let me execute this and look into it. As we can see, there are certain flow errors has happened for different conversations. In these kind of scenario, for this query, I want to send an alert message. You can execute the search query, and you can measure, and you can specify the aggregate by count, and I can say if the count of this is greater than 5 or 3, that's my threshold, or even 1 if it is a critical in nature. You can specify those threshold and what are the actions that needs to be taken for this, right? Like for example, I can notify a team or group in an email, or different actions can be taken it out to notify this alert. This is very critical in scenarios of production where the bots are running and many error happens on third-party external data call your bot does, and there is an error happened due to some reason, and you want to notify the team to take a look into it. You can configure those from your app. And this way, in the demo you have seen I've used the generative answer to get a response. And if I want to see how my generative answers are behaving it out, and what are the response I'm getting it for an answer, to analyze it from the backend and then fine-tune those, you can see those information. For example, I've asked for Xbox gift card, what information it has provided as a summary, you can analyze that. And you can see those, what URLs it has shared with the user. This provides an input or analysis of what has been asked and what our gen answers are responding to their customer. And there are scenarios where certain times the answers, the questions are asked, the information is not shared with the customer. In those scenarios, you will find there are no results. And that is due to, it could be couple of reasons. It could be that Gen Answer couldn't find that information in public website, or it is filtered due to high content moderation that can be configured in your Copilot Studio. If that is there, the results came from the gen answers, but it is filtered and not shared with the customer due to high content moderation, which has been set in our Copilot bot. For this example, I just played around with it and then I asked something with a deeper conversation as a random text, and you can see there is no answers found in my search results. These are the analysis you can put in, and then you can also analyze this information and refine your conversation boosting to have a higher bot resolution rate. Okay. And that's all I want to cover for this session. I hope these are useful on the app insights, how you can configure it and how you can run across the various queries. And whatever we have covered in this session has been documented in our MS Learn as part of the implementation resource. It covers a detailed step of configuring, how to configure it, and what are the various sample queries that we have seen it in the demo has been published for your reviews. And look out for this space, and we will be publishing more of common scenarios that can be used by the user. And whatever we have, the resources for this has been shared in this link, and it can be accessible and implemented.
So now let's have a look at how we could implement a process to deflect or route cases automatically inside your customer service solution by leveraging AI capabilities. So if you are an organization offering customer care services, you are probably accepting incoming requests from different channels. A typical scenario is to have one or multiple support mailboxes which are synchronized with Dynamics 365 to create a new case when a new message is received. You will probably have some rules to assign the created case to a triage queue, for example, basing on the mail address who received the message. However, even if you carefully plan for different dedicated mailboxes like support, billing, etc., it can happen quite often that a customer will send a message to the wrong address or sending the same email message to multiple mailbox addresses for a different kind of request than it was supposed to be used for. Since emails are unstructured data, you'll probably have some agents going through the email contents to read that, understand the request, gather the relevant information from the text, and eventually update the case with proper category and details. And only at this stage, the case can finally be rerouted again to the proper queue and agents. This process can be time-consuming and it's not optimized, especially while receiving a large volume of communications on a daily basis. Then, what if there was a better way to do this? Wouldn't it be amazing if we could use AI capabilities to understand the nature of a request every time a new message is received, extract the relevant information from the text, and then use these details to automate the routing and assignment process? The good news is that this is actually possible already. Let's see how. So first of all, we'd start with the definition of a custom prompt in Power Platform. By leveraging the capabilities of GPT, we can define a prompt that will accept an input text and analyze it to define a category from a list of predefined values in our Dataverse environment. At the same time, in the prompt, we can ask for a summary of the customer request, the reason why that specific category was assigned, and include additional relevant information detected in the text, like customer numbers, order numbers, product codes, and so on. We can also ask to include in the prompt instructions on how we want the output to be formatted. For example, we can specify that we want a JSON format to simplify further processing steps. If you wish to have more information on how to create a custom prompt, please refer to the documentation at this link. Once our prompt is ready, we can proceed to integrate it in our email-to-case process. In Dynamics 365, we already have automatic record creation rules that will automate the case creation when a new email arrives. These rules are implemented with the Power Automate flow, which is created automatically by the system. Now, some parts of the generated flow must not be changed. However, we are free to add some additional steps before the case creation step. We can then use the built-in AI Builder connector and add a new action to the flow and execute the previously created prompt by passing the email text as an input. After that, we'll add another step to process the JSON output. And once we add value for each information like category, we can use these values to inject new fields on the step that creates the new case in Dynamics. Of course, we also created some corresponding custom columns for the case table in our Dataverse environment to host the new values returned by the AI. When this process is enabled for every new email received and without any human intervention, we'll find the category and other useful information filled automatically in every new case. If you want more information about how to use a GPT prompt in a Power Automate flow, you can refer to the linked documentation. Moving to the next step of our process, in Dynamics 365, we have our routing rules to assign cases to queues. Since we now have a reliable category field, we can use this information to assign the case to the proper queue automatically, basing on the category and other relevant information detected in the email body. By doing this, we can reduce the effort needed by agents to understand what a case is about, categorize it manually, and route it manually again to the right destination queue. If you don't feel comfortable to have this process fully automated yet, and you still prefer for the moment to have some agents double-check the results of the AI model, you can surface this information in the agent's UI and let them confirm the values before proceeding. Even in this case, by having a suggested category, an explanation of the reason, a summary of the request, and many other useful information at hand, we remove the need to spend precious time scrolling through the original email text for every email. If you wish to have a more detailed description on how to implement a similar solution in your project, please refer to our article in our resource collection at this link. Now, Sourav, things over to you for the next presentation.
Thanks, Michelle. Hello, everyone. Today, in this article, we are going to see how knowledge search can be integrated into your bots, which can provide customers with self-service option, allowing them to find information they need quickly and easily. The knowledge articles retrieved from Dynamics 365 contains a lot of information. For a quick self-service scenario, the content is summarized with the help of GPT model, which has been configured using custom prompt in AI Hub, which Michelle has explained in his presentation. This saves time and provides the crisp information which the customer is looking for. Technically speaking, the custom prompt is integrated with the topics flow, which is configured using the Copilot Studio. Overall, the integration provides customer with more accurate and personalized information. As you can see in this diagram, there is an action which it provides. So we expose this action with search knowledge-based articles and returns the different articles. So we'll see it in action in the next demo. Hello, everyone. Today, in this article, we are going to see how knowledge base, which is stored in Dynamics 365, can be integrated with a custom bot. This is a common scenario which we see within our customers, wherein a self-service bot is leveraged to answer questions without deflection to human agents. This helps human agents to focus on more complex activities. Let's talk about the scenario which we are going to see. Let's say I have purchased a product and it has a defect and I want to return the product. I want to know the process to authorize the return. So let me ask the bot, what are the steps to authorize a return? Once the question is sent to the bot, the generative AI identifies the most appropriate combination of actions and topic to respond to the user, in which case it is me. In our case, one of the right topic is triggered. It parses the question and search within the knowledge base in D365 to look for the relevant knowledge article. Once the article is found, then it uses custom AI prompt, which has been configured leveraging the AI Hub built on top of the GPT model to summarize the article. Then it presents the content to the user. As you can see, the content came up. It shows here is what I have found. To return or exchange a product, you need to fill out a return authorization form, and so on so forth. It essentially summarizes the article which is present in the knowledge base. It also provides a link to the article which it has referred to. So if you see, this is the article which it has referred to, which is present within the knowledge base. With this, we conclude the summarization capability leveraging the GPT model of AI. Thanks everyone for watching. So in this video, you have seen that the bot was able to summarize a single article. So this is just for the purpose of demo. However, in the scenarios wherein multiple articles are retrieved, it can equally be leveraged to summarize content from the different articles. So this link, once the session is done, you will get access to the deck and all the resources. So this link has all the details about how you can configure and leverage the summarization capability. Watch out this space as the article will soon be upgraded. Next topic is on the playing secure audio. Over to you, Nuno.
Thank you, Sourav. So let me quickly introduce you to this sample. And it was created under the context of when you have an IVR bot that was created in the classic version, known as Power Virtual Agents. We know that companies invest a lot in their marketing and in their brand style. And in some occasions, they create TV or radio advertisements that become viral because of a known sentence, because of a peculiar voice that was used. And companies like to leverage their IVRs to play these sentences and these voices one more time to their customers. With Power Virtual Agent Classic, this is possible to achieve by using the SSML tag, and we can play these custom audio files if they are accessible to the internet, from the internet, sorry. Our proposal is by using Azure Blob Storage and configuring a SAS token for the storage container. This will make our custom file internet accessible, but also secure. In the link that you have in this PowerPoint, you have access to this step-by-step script and on how to achieve this configuration. And finally, as a side note for this, soon we will be upgrading this article to translate this exact same configuration into the current Copilot Studio that we have available. And that's it from me. Now, handing over the session to Vince. Thank you.
Thanks, Nuno. This item is related to DTMF capability in the Power Virtual Agent. This item is related on DTMF scenario on IVR. It refers on PVA, Power Virtual Agent, as known as Microsoft Copilot Studio Classic for voice support. Image, for example, the IVR asks to the customer to digit the account number, 7 digits by phone pad, like for example 1223457. In this case, using Power Virtual Agent PVA just reads the first digit only. The proposed solution in this case, if you need to read all the account number, is to add a custom skill that implement aggregate DTMF capability by using Azure Bot Framework Composer and the telephony extension package that you can find in the GitHub telephony extension package. And all the details regarding this article, we posted the link in the slide at the end of the slide, and you can access later on when the technical talk will be completed. Now we can move to the next deliverable. This deliverable is related on multilingual contact center. We can consider the following scenario where you need or can set up bots, IVR, as first contact who can handle the customer calls. And you would provide messages in different languages and voices, for example. This article provides an artifact sample code based on Copilot Studio Classic, also in this case, powered with Teleagent with voice support, by using also the Azure Bot Framework Composer to add the capability to use SSML tag inside Power with Teleagent. In the same way, in the link, in the slide, you can find all the details related to this deliverable too. This is the last item for today. In this last section, we would like to present the new capability that will be available in Copilot Studio voice channel. As we can see in this slide, we'll have Copilot Studio plus Nuance voice stack. The result is the Copilot Studio with voice support in the same authoring canvas. In this way, we can cover contact center IVR scenario in omni-channel voice vNext version. So this means that in omni-channel vNext version, there is the chance to use Copilot and all the same, like today, but the new feature is to have voice support directly in the authoring canvas in Copilot Studio. Let's see some samples on the new capabilities that we have in the canvas. In this slide, we see in detail the DTMF authoring support that we'll have in the Copilot Studio. For example, it is possible to give customer choices for the input. So you can associate the digit number 1, for example, to yes, and number 2 to no. And you can also work with the timeout, like interdigit and the termination timeout. You can associate also validation to the input that the customer, the caller, is providing by DTMF. And also you can associate trigger topic in order to provide to the caller the chance to press 0, for example, anytime to go back in the main menu. In this slide, instead, we see what I just mentioned before is related to the chance to have directly in Copilot Studio the capability to work with SSML tag. This means that if you want to customize the voice or change the language or play an audio file and so on, everything related to SSML tag, you don't need to use anymore Azure Bot Framework Composer, because you will have in the authoring canvas directly the chance to use your custom SSML tag. In this slide, I just posted a link to submit your request if you are interested to access to the omnichannel vNext voice preview. And let me update with good news, at least. All the articles that are related to Power with the Legend that we show today in this presentation will be upgraded soon to Copilot Studio voice channel in order to provide you the same articles, the same information, but by using the new Copilot Studio authoring canvas. Now I move to the last part of the presentation, the question part.
Thank you, Vince. So yes, a few questions that we might try to answer. Let's start with a presentation about Copilot Studio application inside telemetries by Ram. So Ram, could you tell us if it's possible to log custom messages in those telemetries that we saw earlier? So if I want to add my own custom message rather on top of what is already logged by the application, is that possible?
Currently, the logging custom telemetry is available in Copilot Studio. There is an action to log. There is an action specifically called out to log custom telemetry that provides a capability to log your own data into the same app insights and further enrich the data what you have.
Well, Thank you. Very useful. And Vince, we saw in the presentation about the Power Automate desktop automation and the demo from Josh that there was kind of a security confirmation dialog shown. Is there any way to remove that, or how does that work?
Oh, yes, very, very good question, Mike. Yes, it is possible to remove the confirmation dialog because these settings is available in the PAD console application. That this console application can be configured. This confirmation dialog that you can skip this one. And I want to add that in the settings there is also one feature available that you can show the progress ring that indicate to the user the steps that the automation is performing. So let's check in the PAD console application, where you can find all the settings available.
Nice, that is cool. And if I want to use that solution that you showed earlier, so integrating this Power Automate desktop automation from within customer service workspace for my users, is that included with their, let's say they have a customer service enterprise license, is that part included, or do they need an additional license?
For this part, what the user agent needs is to have a Power Automate Premium, or for example, then another chance is to purchase the license per flow.
Yeah, I see, that makes sense. And in the last bit of the presentation, Vince, you mentioned about Copilot Studio for voice. Is that a new product, or can you elaborate on that?
Yes, Copilot Studio voice channel is the same product that we have now, and we announced also in the last build event. The only part that will be added is the voice channel support. You will find in the all available channels in the Copilot Studio canvas a new channel that is called the telephony channel. By enabling this channel, you will have in the Copilot Studio all the capabilities related to the voice support. So you will have the TMF, DTMF, the SSML tag, and consider that in the Copilot Studio, for example, when you use the message action, okay, in the canvas, the message node, you can switch between SSML tag and speech by using also SSML tag, but you can also switch back to text. So this means that in the same node can be used in the voice channel, but also in the text channel, okay, like for example the chat. But it's not a new product. It's a new channel available in the Copilot Studio authoring canvas.
Yeah, thank you very much. That's very interesting. And I guess that's also part of the reason why we said to check back on our resources, because we will be updating some of these articles exactly for this reason, because new product capabilities will be available. So we will be expanding our resource collection to also describe those new features, right?
Yes, and let me say that another reason we are going to upgrade the articles is also related to the last announcement that we had in the Microsoft build, because I don't know if you joined the event, but now we have the new UI in the Copilot Studio authoring canvas. So also this new UI will be integrated in the latest, in the next version of the articles, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Vince. Thanks for the explanations. So I just want to remind everybody that from our Dynamics 365 community portal, you will find announcements for new TechTalk episodes, and you will also see the posts containing the links to the recordings and presentations for past events. Also, the recording for today will be available in the next week, so please go and check our community portal for all the latest information about new Tech Talks. This concludes today's Tech Talk event. Thanks a lot to all of our presenters, and thanks to you, our audience, for attending our TechTalk today. We hope you have a great rest of the day ahead.